In this week's Life Hack, I had an illuminating conversation with an activist who's spearheading the call for representation for people living with albinism. Bringing visibility to albinism, making important members of our society not only seen but respected. It's not an easy task anywhere in the world, but Thando, who is a South African, a model and a lawyer, has done just that. How easy or difficult a task has it been?
I would not call it an easy task at all. I think when I started this back in 2012, in terms of representation, especially in the beauty economy or the mainstream media, there was no representation when it came to albinism. And the issues of albinism were quite multifaceted. So I went into this journey not really having, for lack of a better word, a mentor, because there was nobody who was walking this journey that I had seen in my past. I mean, sure, we had like Salif Keita, but you know, it was a bit removed at the same time from my particular circumstances. So I couldn't really look at somebody who I could model and say, oh, okay, this is how you can negotiate these spaces.
What impact have you had on people who have albinism, and what growth happened to you when you were doing these investigations?
I'm not going to individualize the progress, because when I started in 2012, you had other models or actresses with albinism. You had Refila Mudisela, you had Puleng Mulabati, you know. So many things were happening at the same time. The United Nations, you had the expert with respect to dealing with albinism. Everything was happening a lot at the same time. So as much as I was dealing with the media component, you had people dealing with the legal component, educational component, and I really think that we were working together at one time. That's why you're beginning to see a great deal of representation with people who have albinism, not just in media, but just in society in general. It's not as fast as we would like it to be, but there is definitely progress.
Do you think being good-looking helped? You were on the cover of Vogue. What impact did that have on your cause?
You know, the interesting about being good-looking is that I had to almost somewhat negotiate that concept into media, because for centuries a woman like me was not considered as part of the good-looking factor when you're looking at beauty and representation or women in magazines, you know. But I do think that how I chose to dress myself is through my mind, to be quite honest. That was what I chose for my dominant appearance to be. I wanted something that was future-proof, and I knew that the contributions that my body had through experiences, what it could bring into the social economy, would be far more future-proof than just looking good.
If somebody wanted to become an activist for whatever cause, and there are so many causes around the world, what is your word of advice? How passionate do you have to be?
I think activism is not a profession, it's a character trait. And all you really need is a sense of purpose. When I went into modeling, I did not go into modeling because I wanted to be a model. I was a lawyer. My purpose was, I started it and I said I want to represent albinism in a positive way, but that was an oversimplification, because what I was actually saying at its core is I'm looking for diversity and inclusion and representation. So I think whether you're a contract lawyer, whether you are, like almost anything in the world, whether you're an engineer, activism can filter through in your work, in almost anything that you do, but it really is honed by your sense of purpose.
Well, good to talk to you, and I know you're heading off to Davos to represent us and people with albinism. Good luck.